Hello everyone, today I will demonstrate and explain our code for the game Dinosaur. In this game, you play as a dinosaur whose target is to reach his castle and defeat the evil wizard that cursed him in the first place. As I explain the code, there will be a small demonstration in certain parts of the code to better illustrate the explanation. Alright, first of all, I would like to start with the libraries that are utilized in this game. The first 5 lines are inclusions to the main libraries that are used to make the game function. So we have include IOStream, include windows.h, include ctime, and include cstring. Next, the screen size and force full screen. So the lines 9 and 10 are used to initialize our workspace by setting the screen border, the width and the height of the screen. This determines how big our game is and also creates a grid, so in this case a 200 by 35 grid where the pixels can be colored to visualize our game. So in this portion of the code, we initialize a command to force the game or console into a full screen so that the set pixels and code work properly and no pixels are displaced. So this is the line of code that forcefully initializes the console to be in full screen. Next we have the main menu. Okay, so here we have this portion of the code is where the main menu functions. A small game engine is created to realize an internal timer that can be used in relation to other functions throughout the game. Here a ticker timer is created and used to time various functions throughout the game, such as fireball active time, jump time, and more. There is also a small function called sleep. This, in short, refreshes the game, allowing the player to interact in between the refreshes. It is also used in the main menu, preventing the arrow position from moving too fast after each button press. This is also part of the main menu. Here, the boolean values related to the main menu itself are set. If the spacebar is pressed when the arrow position is at a certain position, the start game boolean is set to true, initiating the first level of the game. Alright, next is the storyline. When the start game boolean is set to true, the first level of the game is initiated. Hence, the storyline is displayed. In this portion of the code, 2 main functions are focused on. The first is displaying the text letter by letter, and the second is enabling the player to skip the storyline by holding spacebar. Here is where all the variables of this function are initialized. All variables are set to 0 to prevent any unwanted errors. The void function story skip handler is what allows the player to skip the storyline when a certain key, which is the spacebar, is triggered for an extended period of time. The void function story play is where the main feature is coded. Here, displaying the set storyline letter by letter becomes possible. The character story array can be changed to display any paragraph of text intended and can be easily changed in the code. The next portion of the code tracks the potential position of each sequential letter and displays it accordingly based on the character story array. This in turn gives the illusion that the story is being typed out letter by letter. In this portion of the code, the different levels of the game are called upon when the relative boolean value changes. When first starting the game, the current level value, or cur_level, changes from 1 to 2, thus the first level of the game is initiated. After completing each level, the current level value adds by 1, and subsequent levels are initiated. When the player fails a level, the current level value automatically resets to 1, thus the player has to start all over again. Next is the dinosaur features and functions. We move on to the dinosaur and how it functions. Here is the dinosaur in the first level, and all other levels are just similar to this one. First, the internal timer engine from the main menu is used here. Thus, a code is used to initiate it. Next, the map for the level is called and generated. Each level has a different map generation. The first level being the wasteland with cactus, the second one is inside a cave with stalagmites, and the last one is the boss battle. Shortly after, a few variables are declared to determine and set the position of the dinosaur on the preset grid that was made earlier. These work like a coordinate system to accurately display each pixel of the dinosaur. A boolean is created for the dinosaur leg to mimic movement instead of the dinosaur being static. Other booleans are also initiated for the generation to determine dinosaur actions based on key presses, whether the dinosaur is jumping, ducking, or shooting a fireball. Booleans are also declared for the fireballs that will be shot out the dinosaur's mouth, the cactus, and the star predictions that will be randomly generated, and also the portal at the end of the game. Finally, 2 more booleans are declared to determine the score and level clear requirements. Next, the dinosaur is printed onto the screen with its set coordinates. The dinosaur changes depending on the boolean value of the dinosaur jumping and ducking and is coded into an if-else loop. The clear dinosaur void call functions to initiate coordinate values of the dinosaur before being printed again in a different position, creating the illusion of movement, either when jumping or ducking. In this section, the fireballs are set to be printed and cleared. Certain values are declared here that determines how far the fireball travels and how fast it travels. This also includes a boolean trigger of when the fireball is shot and enables the player to shoot fireballs even in mid-air. Here we have the dinosaur controls. This section of the code may be the most important part as it enables the player to interact with the dinosaur. First, a code is set to read the state of the keys arrow up and arrow down, and also spacebar, which are these 3 values here. If a certain key is pressed, a boolean value is initiated, triggering a section of the code relative to the key pressed. For the up arrow key, when the key is pressed, the screen height and the dinosaur's Y position is cleared and updated, giving the illusion that the dinosaur is jumping. The same goes for the down arrow key. When it is pressed, the dinosaur is updated and the jump boolean is set to false, preventing the player from jumping while ducking at the same time. When it is held, the dinosaur ducks, but when it is tapped in midair, the dinosaur instantly lands on the ground. Next is similar, but for the spacebar. When the spacebar is pressed, a fireball will be printed and moves at the speed and time previously set. This section handles the position of the dinosaur when no user input is active or initiated. When jumping and no user input is detected, to instantly land the dinosaur lands slowly as if being affected by gravity. This is what this part of the code is for. This next portion is also a crucial part of the game element. When the dinosaur is in collision with another object, be it a cactus, a stalactite, a boulder, or any enemy, a boolean value is activated and set to true, to promptly triggering the game over title screen. Next, we have the win and lose condition function. This is the final section of the code which determines whether the player has finished or failed the game. When the player has finished all 3 levels, the current level value will add up to 4, thus prompting the win game title screen. However, as previously mentioned, if the player's dinosaur collides with any other entities, then the collision boolean will trigger and prompts the lose game title screen. This resets the current level value to 1, thus the player must reset and play again from level 1.